Hello, Pisces. How's everybody doing today? I hope that you are well. Really looking forward to today's reading. I can't believe we're looking at November. Can you? This year is nearly over, and this is going to be a really powerful reading. A lot of messages came through, and I think this is just, for me, this time of year is always very powerful because, as I've been saying for all signs this month, we're right on that precipice, right where the veil is thin, where we're connecting with ancestral energy, where we can really look at the possibilities, and I think in a very good way for like what's coming through in the next year. So as I said, I'm excited. Apollo just got a haircut, so he's looking great here, so I thought I'd bring him up for a second. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We're going to be reading today for the sign of Pisces. We'll be looking at energy that you could apply towards sun, rising, and moon. And unlike some other readers, I definitely welcome cross-watching, or you can look on behalf of someone in your life that you love. And if you know a lot about your chart, you're welcome to look at whatever feels relevant for you. So welcome, however you decide to use this. What we're going to be doing today is looking at this in a few major areas. I like to begin with some channeled messages that I basically will take from dream interpretation, and then also meditation and automatic writing. The way that works is I program my dreams the night before just to receive information that's going to be specific to or kind of fine-tuned for your sign. And then I get up a little bit early on these days and about an hour before I start writing out all of these note cards. And so, yeah, there's a lot of information from that. So we'll start with the psychic download, which I call the channeled messages. After we get through that, then I'll use the Celtic Cross here. And we'll take a look at high points, challenges, all the opportunities in between. And then we'll go a little deeper and look at an expanded forecast where we focus on health, wealth, love, and destiny. And then at the latter portion, after a review, we're going to look at the soul path, which differs for every sign in kind of like what we take a look at. But I'm always looking at past, present, and future influences that go a little deeper on something that we either cover in the channeled messages or in the Celtic Cross. And we'll wrap it all up at the end with a meditation and a singing bowl, a sound bath that I provide for you guys. So I feel like this is a nice overview, and in many cases, there's some oddly specific information that comes through the dreams. So we'll get to that in just a moment. Before I get started, first of all, welcome everybody, whether it's your first time or your return watcher. I see a lot of people with the green text that are channel members. Welcome back if that's the case. It's good to see you. I'd like to just cover really quickly how I interact with you when I'm in a live format. I try to kind of stay focused because I am channeling the whole time, so I will not do a lot of interaction with the chat. In particular, I don't do Q&A, not in this style of video. There'll be other moments in time where I do that, but not for the monthlies. But I do encourage you to interact. If you want to say thank you, I see it, and it helps me know that you're appreciating what you're seeing. So you can do a super chat if you'd like to. And it's this little emoji. It's only available, or by the emojis, I should say. This icon's only available when you're watching it live. If you're doing it later, there's another option that they've added, and it's called applause, and it's right by, or applaud. It's right by thumbs up, thumbs down, and share. And basically, both of these are just ways to support the channel, help me continue to buy all the note cards, all the different tarot cards, and just show up and be here for you guys. Okay, let's get into the messages. Again, this is for the month of November, and like I said, you can use it for sun, rising, and moon if you just joined. Okay, so the first sort of thread of information that came through had to do with existing relationships in your life. In particular, I felt like this was going to be a chance for you to focus on emotional clearing or cleansing, or just getting some clarity on existing relationships that are in your life. So first message, really focusing on clearing and cleaning those up. And what I saw was felt like an old acquaintance that was coming through. And maybe this is someone that you've not talked to in a while, or it could be a fair weather friend that seems to kind of pop in if and only if they need something. And so, you may be kind of at a point right now where you're really busy and thinking, how am I going to deal with this? And the answer is you don't have to, because I think what this is giving you a chance to do is to reset the dynamics of this friendship or this relationship. And so instead of kind of going into the enabling behavior, you're going to move to the empowering behavior, which is like, I'm going to empower you to figure out how to fix this. For some people, especially if they're younger, this might mean actually showing them and making sure that to say, like, I'm not going to do it for you. You're going to do it with me. I'm going to teach you how to do it so that this is a skill that you have. So I'm going to impart the skill upon you so that, or give you something. It's basically a tool. So that's a lot better than just saying like, hey, figure it out or you're bothering me. Instead, you're saying, no, I want to help you, but I'm not going to always have time. In fact, right now I'm even really busy, but this is important. I want you to learn it. So with a kid, I think that's a perfect teaching opportunity. For someone in your life, you could also point them in the right direction of a resource. Say, I can't do it today, but this person's really good at it, or here's a free resource where you can take care of it, and just kind of put someone on the right path. That's also a gentle way of saying no. So if you have to say no, say no. Otherwise, try to put them into a place where, especially if someone's been helped often, it's kind of scary for them to take that first step. So ease someone into being more empowered, more accountable, more independent. Because ultimately, especially if it's a child, you want them to have the energy of being able to be like in Nine of Pentacles, self-sufficiency, right? And when you teach someone something, then that's a skill that they can use for their whole life. So different way to kind of look at that. Once that older energy kind of is cleared out, then I saw a new relationship coming in or taking center stage, but there was karma to it. So this is what we would normally call a soulmate relationship. I think we would be better to describe soulmates as karmic relationships, because the karma can be either elevated or it can be heavy. And this karmic relationship that's coming through this month was defined by the fact that the body that the person is sort of inhabiting doesn't match the energy of the person. So if they're young, they have wisdom beyond their years. If they're old, they have this sort of youthful, playful, fool type energy, if you will. And so basically an oxymoronic kind of weird, something that doesn't feel like it, like the person doesn't act the way you think they should. There's something unique about the relationship. That'll help you identify them. That was kind of like the defining factor. So I was like saying, yeah, either an old soul in a young body, or a young person, or a young soul in an old body. What I think is really important is to work through the karmic lesson. I think for some of you, the first thing that we were talking about could be part of that, which is independence and making sure that this person is kind of feeling the sense that they can do it. There might be some additional things. And when we look at the cards and sort of look at the relationship cards, we'll see what's coming through as well. All I could see here was that it felt like both of these relationships needed to be lightened. So the load that you are carrying or the work that you are doing needs to be balanced out between these two different energies. For some of you, they may be the same, but I kind of felt like I was receiving it in two different sort of energetic downloads. So I'm going to separate it out for those of you that might be dealing with two different types of people. All right. Once the emotional energy is cleared and once this sort of relationship energy is in a good space, then we're moving to you and to your head in particular. And my guides wanted me to sort of remind you of the power of thoughts, but not just that they're alchemic, which is something that we talk about a lot here on this channel. They're also liberation or liberating. I'm a big fan of science fiction and fantasy and futurist books. When I was a kid, one of the books that sort of changed my outlook on things was 1984. And it's an amazing book, and it really is important even in the here and the now, because one of the things that the sort of powers that be, the governing forces in that book were trying to do was to police our thoughts, to police the way we could think. And one of the things they tried to do was take away hope. And I think one thing that all of us are looking for right now is that sense of optimism, of hope. And it's important for us when we're exploring opportunities in our life to never limit ourselves just because a parent, an authority figure, society, the government, whatever, just because people around you aren't in that sort of same energy of possibility, especially when we're looking at helping, healing, and educating in particular. There are times when things are wrong, but when it's about change is often miscategorized as wrong because people are afraid of what that change might mean. So explore all the opportunities this month in your life. Whatever that means. Maybe it's about going back to school. Maybe it's about, sorry, the marker's on my hand here. I was like, what is that? Maybe it's about going back to school. Maybe it's about trying to figure out, should I stay at this job? Should I not? Explore all of the possibilities and really allow yourself to try new things. As I said, don't let anyone hold you back from dreaming. And everything in our life kind of starts off with a humble beginning, a seed. And that's really what my guides were showing me, was kind of like a little acorn seed for a tree, for instance. So this is your chance to plant that energetic seed and continue to feed it. We've talked also about this in different signs over the year, but for you, there was a reminder that things don't just kind of like happen. It's small. It's about feeding it. It's about working on it. It's about continuing to push it forward. So the genesis is often tiny, but the result can be very big. Even the Big Bang ostensibly started as this compact point that over time became something enormous. But it also started as a sort of singular point. So imagine that you're going to do something in your life that's like the Big Bang, where there's going to be this emotional, this energetic, this sort of creative outflow that starts with a kernel, with a thought, with a seed. What you want to focus on this month is really feeding that passion, feeding that desire, putting energy towards that genesis, towards that moment of creation. Okay. My guides are having fun with me this week because I think we're close to Halloween. I'm reading for November, but I'm getting weird things that are coming through my third eye in both meditation and also dreams. And today it was a spider. Don't worry, I'm not going to kind of like go into what the spider looks like, but what the spider symbolizes. I think a spider's super powerful, so I was happy to see this. One of the key things with the spider is it is great at attracting. That's actually one of its key functions. It spins a web so that it can get its food, so that it can sustain itself. And so when we're looking at abundance, a spider is like the Midas touch, it's gold. Now, it's also not accidental that dream catchers kind of take on the form of a web, right? You know, there's different things that you would see in that. Feather came through too, and I'll talk about that. But you see things like a feather, there'll be crystals, there'll be other things that are put in that. But the dream catcher is an intention to sort of catch negativity and help your dreams be clear. You could think of the spider being the same thing, but I thought, what if we thought of this as a cosmic web that is an attractive energy that's pulling in what you want rather than what you don't want? Because that's why I don't have a dream catcher in my bedroom right now. I'm like, I don't need something catching negativity. I want something that pushes it away or that attracts positivity. So I kind of work in a different frequency there. So in your cosmic web, I want you to weave a creative and an elevated thought frequency. Imagine that you could kind of put this web around your house, around your person, around your thoughts, and everything that you do is going to be sort of like connected with this thread of energy. And so I was seeing the spider web as being maybe more like that, a protective energy that's also going to be an attractive sort of force as well. Remember that like attracts like. So really want you to focus on potential and possibility rather than fear. And it's hard right now because sometimes you just wake up and it feels like all there is stuff that makes you feel nervous or afraid or uncertain. So it's important to stay informed, but at another level, I also want you to then focus on, well, what am I going to do today with my life, with my time, to figure out what I want to do, how I'm going to make a difference in my life and today, in this world, etc. So the positive energy that you put into what you want to do, that's your cosmic web. That's the like attracting like. Because we're working with the law of attraction and also release here, you need to let go of things sometimes. So if you can detach from what it is that you've tried to create, you also will attract more of it because that web isn't going to get filled up with everything. So see yourself pulling in whatever you seek, but also releasing what you don't. And once you've learned something or kind of gotten what you needed out of a certain interaction or experience, then release that as well. A spider can always go and snip out portions and weave in, again, something new. So you have the resilience of a spider as well this month too, which is if the rainstorm comes, if the wind comes and blows the web to smithereens, you see the spider out there quickly weaving a new one or repairing a piece of it. So I really like that capacity to attract, to sustain, and to rebuild. A spider's amazing, right? It's actually, they're creepy and they're crawly, but they take other things that we don't want and keep them away from us. And they're smart and they're highly intuitive. And that last card, actually, my guides were like, you didn't read the card. it's also about not just seeing things, it's also about feeling things. And that's one of the things that spiders do. When they're on the web, they actually feel the vibration when something is triggered there. So they have a lot of eyes. Not all of them see in the same way, though. There are some that have really good, like the perception of movement, but it's not like what you and I see. They're relying on other senses as well. So, and if you see one of the jumping spiders too, the amazing sort of reflexes. So I think it's one of the most powerful animal symbols or insect symbols that could come through. So yeah, what do you, if I were to kind of frame it up in a different way, Pisces, what I would say is, what is it that you want to attract or create or release this month? And see yourself as doing all of the above if you would like to, okay? The next thing that I saw, perhaps because I was kind of connected to the idea of the dream catcher, is a feather coming through. And I talked earlier this year about sort of the weighing of the heart ceremony with Egyptians, but to me, feathers are also symbols of the divine and also a way to kind of like lighten our energy. So like a feather, I want you to imagine that you are going to be lifted or carried or moved in the direction that you need to be moved into. One of the ways that you want to do this, and we talked about the power of thoughts, is to lighten your heart, lighten your thoughts, and imagine that something is possible. And when we do that, all of a sudden it just feels better. Another way you can lighten your thoughts is to just speak your truth. Maybe you've been carrying an emotional or a thought type burden. It's in your head or it's on your shoulders. And once you're allowed to express yourself, it goes away. Maybe the scariest part is just activating the throat chakra so that you can say it. But once you do that, your heart's open, your shoulders feel good, your head's clear, your back feels better, everything's better because you got it out. So if you're feeling with, if you're dealing with heavy energy or you're feeling that sort of sense of I need to let it go, then let it go this month. And that's really what this is saying. Maybe you need to talk to somebody. Maybe you just need to write it down. Maybe there's another way to express it, but somehow allowing that to get out is going to be important. The last thing was a very specific piece. I could see some of you struggling with, in particular, a computer, but to me, I sort of put a broader stroke with this, which is it's time to update technology. And it could be your things around the house. It could just be like updating the roof. It could be, refrigerator. It could be the car, whatever. Preventative maintenance. If you've had something for like 10 or 15 years and it hasn't been repaired or upgraded, this is the time to do it. If you have an older piece of hardware or software and it's just not keeping up, it probably is not going to last very long into 2021. This is a chance to do it. So budget it in. Because I saw it holding you back from something really important. It was actually kind of connected to the energy of trying to help someone out. I could see that you couldn't because your computer was stalling or crashing. And I thought, okay, interesting. And it's never fun. We always want to save money. But now that we're all kind of doing more telepresence, working from home, telecommuting, et cetera, now more than ever, it's important to have a cellular phone that you can, or a mobile phone that you can depend upon, and a computer. And your internet connection should be fast. But if there's anything else in your house, car, or sort of whatever's around you technologically, this is the time to take a look at it. Of course, we're in a retrograde, so you could just wait. I mean, this is for November, so it's going to be fine, but you could just wait until maybe the 4th or 5th to start making some of these upgrades or purchases. But repairs are perfectly acceptable during retrograde. So if you happen to be watching this in October or at the beginning of November, get that repair done. This is exactly what you should be doing in a retrograde. New purchases can wait until like the 2nd week of November. Okay, let's take a look now at the rest of the cards. We'll see if there's any other messages about spiders or feathers or thoughts or emotional connections to people. And don't worry, if you didn't get to read any of these, I go card by card at the middle point, and I'll do a quick review because a lot of times there's additional information or insights that come through after we look at the Celtic Cross. I also like to remain quiet at this point. I usually will not be looking at chat too much, but just because I need to focus. But don't worry, like I said, after this, I'm going to go through each and every card and contextualize it to the month ahead. So thank you, everybody. And again, welcome here if you just joined. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me a moment or two to get this all set up here. And I love that your catalyst this month is basically the High Priestess or Isis here. And your catalyst card is really how you can stay in the highest possible energy. And this is showing you that the more you listen to what's coming through intuitively, the better. And this is sort of the spider sense that we were talking about here. We've got like a Merkaba at the top. We have the Ankh, all kinds of power symbols, and the divinity that we all have within our own sort of soul space. It's interesting that we sometimes lose connection to that divine energy because our human existence sometimes is a sort of, it's muddied up by the material stuff. And again, all the stuff that I was talking about, even in the book 1984, sometimes as far as like society, culture, government, it kind of steps in and it tries to steal the power. So you have the power, is what this is reminding you. It's been there all along. The Egyptians knew it. We've forgotten it. So this is the discovery of the amazing energy that humans have and the amazing capacity for intuitive development that we all have. Just have to spend some time working on it. So this month, if you're guided to go towards something, do it. If you're guided to move away from something, do it. The High Priestess is in the upright position here, so that is a very good placement. It's just telling me that this is going to be a very powerful month for many of you when it comes to receiving messages, understanding your path. And for some of you, it could be scary because sometimes we don't want to see things that we see, right? I don't think ignorance is bliss. I think that knowledge is power. And I think that ignorance is just that. It's like not knowing and not having the capacity to sort of like move forward. So allow for this empowerment and this download of energy to come through and see it as a chance for you to figure out, now I'm better prepared. Okay, that's unusual, but now I'm going to do something about it. And I'm so grateful that I know. It's always better to know than not to know. We have the Four of Pentacles at the center. And this is a really cool Four of Pentacles. Sometimes Four of Pentacles can be shown as a foundational card. This one shows me as untapped potential, or maybe something that you're keeping under wraps. And I think for many of you, this is a chance to open up. Many times we see that fourth coin right over top of the person's heart. In this one, it's almost like you've put things into safekeeping. And I guess the question for me that I'm asking you, especially since this is kind of at a doorway and we see a path, is why wait any longer? What are you waiting for? What's going on with the timing? Given that it's a 3 or a 4, I would say it's probably the next quarter of a year. So by the end of the year, by January at the latest, it seems like it's fine, if not recommended, for you to walk through that door, to take the first step to build upon that foundation. Okay. So open up basically is what we see with this Four of Pentacles. And it's a really nice illustration to show that. You have what it takes, but you have to start to open up. Then we have the Moon on top of it, which could be coloring the fear or the uncertainty some of you have towards that. And this Moon is shining on a little tiny island. And it reminds me, was it a Simon and Garfunkel song, I'm a rock, I'm an island, or whatever. We're not, though. We're not alone. You're not alone here today. You're never alone. So this is really about moving through that feeling of isolation that I know a lot of us are going through, and remembering that we're collectively dealing with that, and it's not going to be something that goes on forever and ever and ever. There is sort of this indeterminate time that we're all in right now where it's a chance for us to explore and discover, but you're not alone. You just feel alone. And so how are you going to work with that? And maybe within this sort of period of being able to be isolated, you can learn, you can develop, because to me, this is a treasure trove. There's something really cool in there. I want to see what you have to share and what you could work on. So work on yourself and don't be afraid, and explore the intuitive energy of the Moon, which oftentimes leads us to something better. This is the High Priestess, but in a more muted form. This is the instinct rather than the intuition. But it's a creative energy that wants to flow through. So open up and let it flow is what I see if we put these two together. We have the Tower reversed in the deep past here. We have Kali destroying and revealing and showing us some things maybe that we don't want to see. The third eye is open on Kali, which is helping us, again, sort of see that which we're not maybe wanting to. We have all of the veil here, the dead coming through, which is what really November 1st is about. October 31st, November 1st, 2nd, we're looking at all of that passage from what was and what is right now. So during this period, while the tower is reversed, while the veil is open, this is in your past, but it's coming back. What is it that you still feel like you need to work on? Is there some stuff in your life right now where you want to get ahead of some of the changes? Because to me, the tower reverse is not as discombobulating as the tower upright. The tower just hits and you have to deal with it. The tower reverse is basically saying, I know it's coming. I think this is how I want to handle it. I need to talk to somebody about it. I want to start to express my concerns or my ideas about this. So this is a really good time to finish it up. It's in the deep past. So there's some stuff that you need to wrap up and kind of get in order. And don't be afraid to, again, speak up if you have a point of view about the changes. Otherwise, the changes just happen. And then it's kind of you playing catch up and figuring like, how am I going to deal with all these changes now? Some of you have had to put off a move. Sometimes when I look at the tower, it can indicate a move, or for some of you, you're not sure where you're going to be living maybe over the next year or so. There's a lot of question marks around it, where sometimes the tower could be a little bit more definitive. So for this, there's that level of ambiguity. And I would say if that's coming through, just do a little bit of research and figure out, how am I going to educate myself on the options here? How can I feel grounded? How can I feel stable, especially if that's in the deep past? Because it's here, I'm going to read it also similar to how I would if it was in the environment, which is, I want you to look at your house too, or your home, your apartment. And if there's anything about it that is chaotic, it's time to clean. Because if we don't have a clear space around us, then we can't think clearly. And you remember I was talking about with the web, you're pulling in lower frequency energy, because clutter attracts clutter. It attracts that lower frequency and that sort of energy in our head that makes us not be able to decide. So if you're having a hard time deciding something, a great thing to do is to clean. As you're cleaning and clearing, you're clearing your thoughts too. And after you're doing that, not maybe thinking so much about that thing, you'll sit down and something will come to you. You'll have an epiphany. Okay, Ace of Spirals. In this particular deck, they decided to reinvent everything. So spirals are wands and scrolls are swords. So I really like the way that this one looks, though. So with this, it's showing almost like it's like a big satellite, this horn that I see on the ram, maybe. And so what I'm feeling here is this potential for you to pick up on things that you wouldn't otherwise perceive. And to me, wands are always very cognitive. That's the sort of, when we're talking about the seed that you could be planting, usually I would think Ace of Pentacles, but it has to come to you first. So you're going to get like a cosmic seed planted in your head or in your ear, and it's up to you if you want to take that and then do something with it, and then put it into an Ace of Pentacles or an Ace of Swords energy, which is talking about it or doing it or actually investing in it. So what ideas are you receiving this month? Please put them down in your phone or on paper or something. Start to develop them a little bit. And also, I want you to listen to the first thought that you have when you interact with people. I've mentioned before, I think in my intuitive development series, which I did about a year ago or a couple years ago, I intermittently will update it. But one of my more interesting experiences was an exchange back when I was working in a corporate environment where I met somebody, and I very rarely in a normal conversation when I'm talking to someone do I get a clairaudient sort of message, because it takes, for me, clairaudience requires meditation so that I'm focused and that I'm kind of picking it up either in my head or in my ears. But I was talking to the person and I heard a whisper in my ear that said, like, careful, more like careful. And I tried not to kind of give it, I pretended like I didn't hear it, but I thought, why am I being told to be careful? And then that person turned out to be a very tricky person, and they did some stuff that wasn't so cool. And I understood very clearly that my guides were, at that point, they wanted to grab my attention quickly. Sometimes it's a whisper in the ear. Sometimes it's a thought like trouble. I've had that before. It may just be a single word, or it could just be like your skin is crawling, or you get this weird feeling in your stomach. You're like, I don't know about this person. I don't know about this situation. You do know about it. That's exactly what's coming through. So I want you to listen to thoughts and perceptions. That's your spider sense coming through. Then I want you also to listen to the ideas, because guess what? We do have the Ace of Pentacles in the crowning position. So this is a great idea, and this is investing in it. This is planting a seed. Normally, the Ace of Pentacles in some decks will even look like a seed or an egg, because that's what you need to kind of bring it forward. And that takes us the next step there, from the Four of Pentacles to the Five of Pentacles, which we're starting to see growth. We're starting to see you break even. Definitely take this and bring it into this. You're getting an idea or some guidance that's going to bring forth something even better. Hopefully that makes sense, okay? With the Ace of Pentacles, it's a great sign for a new job if you're looking for employment, or employment after a period of unemployment, because that's what's going on in a lot of the world right now with shutdowns and with a lot of industries being turned upside down. Some of you might have lost a job, lost a home, a relationship could have fallen apart. And what I'm seeing here is a positive shift, an idea or some news that you could capitalize on, and it could bring about positive change. But you got to keep your ear open, got to keep your third eye open, like Kali. Even Kali, amidst all the chaos, that third eye is wide open. So, and that's the High Priestess here. Maybe it's for your benefit, even though going through it was terrible. It often feels really rough when we're going through this. I've been laid off before. It's been a long time, but when I was, I used to work as a contractor for a technical company, and right over Thanksgiving, I got laid off. I got a text too, because tech companies don't care. They're just like, don't come back. And I thought, all right, great, happy Thanksgiving. So I've been there. It's happened, and it's not fun. I've also been in companies where there was a restructuring and someone else navigated their way in and got a job ahead of me, and I've been there working just as hard and I had more experience. It happens. That's why when I see the Tower reversed, I want you guys to take advantage of the timing to make sure that that doesn't fall through for you. So also talk to your boss or your employer and ask what's going on with the company. You have a right to know. Can I expect to be around? And you can sense it. Then use your spidey sense to see if they're telling you the truth, or if it's just a web that they're weaving out towards you as well. Okay. Better to know, better to ask, better to prepare. Assume, because of what we're seeing here, that if you're in a shaky environment, it is time to move on. Or if you're in a shaky relationship, that person really needs to start to invest. You both need to be bringing the ace energy. And if you're not, it's time to move on. And you've got a lot to offer. And there's better days ahead no matter what. And that's what I'm glad we have the Ace of Pentacles in the crowning position. Value your thoughts, value yourself. It's going to open up that potential for other people. I wasn't super surprised that we saw the Lovers coming through. This is a great card. Whether we get the Four of Wands, the Lovers, or the Two of Cups, they're just really good energy. But the Lovers was reversed. And we actually do have kind of like the old soul energy, and possibly in a younger body, which I was kind of picking up on. So for some of you, there's this karmic connection, and it's just about sorting it out and thinking, have we dealt with all the karma? And you can pull cards if you want to look at like what the karma is. I'm going to look at it for you when we go to the expanded, not the expanded, but like the soul path. I'll just pull a card and I'll say, what's the karmic connection? I'm actually feeling it empathically right now in my third chakra. So for me, it's got to do with power. So when I feel it right here around my belly button, it kind of feels like someone just put a knife in my in my stomach. That's one of the not so fun things of being empathic. But anyway, so it feels like someone's putting a knife in my stomach. So for me, a lot of times that has to do with a power struggle, because I'm feeling your etheric cord being pulled a little bit. It can also show that it's weird, but just go with me on this. Sometimes we meet someone that was a parent in another lifetime, and then we play out the role of lover in this lifetime. So, and it can be flipped around too. There can be someone that you used to be married to, and then they take on the role of parent. This is why we forget things coming into this life. We go through amnesia because we kind of play every role. We'll do like brother, then we'll be sister, then we'll be mother, then we'll be father, then we'll be boss, then we'll be best friend. So having all the knowledge of the old relationships would be super strange, and we wouldn't be able to experience the new dynamics. So that's why the amnesia is there initially anyway, but as you meditate on it, you might be able to pick it up. I'm picking up what would be defined to me as probably like blood relationship, and probably it could have been like a parental sort of energy. So you were either that person's child or that person's parent. and now they're coming through in a love relationship, and there's still that desire to want to control for one of you, where it's sort of like, I know better because I'm your parent, but you're not, because now you're just the person's partner. And so this lifetime, the karmic energy is about, you both have the potential to create. You both have the potential to do all of this. We're everything. We're every man and every woman. I would have taken Chaka Khan's song and made it even wider than that. I'm every person. And you've been everything too. So she's on to something, but it was sort of like even bigger than what Chaka Khan was saying there. So imagine that you've been everything, you will be everything to everyone that's around you. So this lifetime, it's that parental energy that needs to be healed a little bit. So remember that nobody has to tell you what to do, and you don't have to tell anyone else what to do. And I think that's going to be what can help you heal probably your most front of mind energy or relationship that you have this month. Okay. All right. The other thing with the Lover's card, by the way, if you're single and happy and you're not dealing with any karmic relationship, this is a great card to have in your spread. This is super attractive energy. This is the spider web. Okay. So you look at how everything is coming through. We've got the whole animal kingdom here. We have the tree of life. We have the moon, the sun. This actually, I like that we actually do see the sun and the moon here, the yin yang energy as well. So you have everything you need. Maybe you're just happy and you don't want to have anyone in your life. This is about pulling in other opportunities and exploring maybe the path of independence this lifetime. And that's why I felt that there, because to me, sometimes this is power, this is independence. So whatever your experience is, good for you. The key thing here is that if you have a relationship this month, it must be balanced. If you're dealing with new partnerships that you're pulling in for business or friendship, or you're just working with yourself, balance out your own energy and balance out those interactions as well. You're going to be pulling new people in your life, even if you're not looking for it this month, because that's a beacon sign. Just like these are two like no vacancy signs. It's the universe saying, oh, I'm going to come through. You're open, you're receiving, you're ready. Okay. We have the 9 of Swords, because scrolls are swords in this particular deck. Gosh, sometimes it's so overwhelming to just deal with the idea of doing something. It's not always as hard to actually do it as it is to conceive or think about, like I got to clean the house. I have to, do my taxes. I need to pick up the phone and talk to whomever. It's sort of like, this is the drama before the task has happened. Because a lot of times 9 of Swords is not so much the reality of it, but the fear of it, or the sort of thing that we build upon our own shoulders and think, oh, I can't do it. Yes, you can. And this is sort of taking it one step at a time. This poor angel just needs to like read that scroll and not worry about it so much. One message at a time, one day at a time, one spreadsheet at a time, whatever it is you're doing. Just take it a little bit slower and try not to consume the whole meal in one bite, is what I would say when I'm looking at this 9 of Swords. The other thing is, I think it would be really nice for you to do something to decompress. 9 of Swords can show a lack of feeling like rested. Maybe you're sleeping, but you're just kind of maybe not even able to go to sleep because you're stressing about something. So stress management, trying to regulate your routine a little bit. One thing that I do if I do experience insomnia, which happens from time to time because I do a lot of stuff, I'll just get up and do something. It goes away. You'll get tired. Do something that, like I just mentioned, it's a great time to go pull out your tax papers. You'll want to go to sleep in 5 minutes. So if it's something that you don't like, just do something secretarial or menial, and that will help. But a lot of times it has to do with maybe figuring out tomorrow, all right, I'm going to do this, this, and this. 9 of Swords will come through when we're afraid of like maybe things that we haven't done coming to fruition or to the light of day. And I mentioned that in Aquarius yesterday, which is it was a really powerful reading. But one of the messages that came through was just to assume that all of this will happen. All of it will come to the light of day. So what you want to be doing over November, and for those of you watching live now in October, is focusing on cleaning up and tying up all of those loose ends. Because once you do that, you will sleep easier. And sometimes there's just a perfectionist energy that can feed into this too. So you're not perfect. You're going to take one thing at a time, and you're going to create an action plan. And then listen to music. I do that as well. But there's some stuff around stress relief and also just kind of managing and maintaining a good schedule around sleeping and waking that's going to help out with this. As we look at your environment, we have the King of Cups, and I like that this is here. This is new love. This is new opportunities. This is creative energy that's flowing through, but it's positive. It's in the upright position. So I think that once you work through some of that karmic stuff that we talked about, whenever you kind of move into the place of acceptance for the change that's already, there's no choice sometimes with the Tower. When you have judgment and justice, you have the luxury of trying to feel good about it and trying to kind of like ease into it. The Tower is like, hey, here it is, better catch up. What are you going to do about it? So the sooner you can get into the sense of, all right, it's happening, then the more fun that you can start to have, and the more you might start to be able to engage with great energy around you. This is directly related to the Lovers card. So unexpected relationship energy or unexpected friendship coming through, it looks like it's positive. And it's just a question of like, what am I going to do with that now? If you're in a relationship, it could just be your partner taking more of an interest in you. It could also be this, like I said, this creative flow that's coming through, and you just want to start to do new things, or maybe you want to spend more time with that person. But there is a shift, and there is a new focus when it comes to people and interactions in your life. So if you're happily alone, though, I feel like you just need a channel for this, especially with the moon energy. This is a lot of like water and a lot of creative energy that's coming through for you. So, I mean, ostensibly this could be you too, but I do feel like because it's in the environment, it's around you as well. So I think it's important to do something with this. How are you channeling things? What are you doing for fun? Sometimes I read for people and they're like, I don't have fun. So you need something. It could be reading a book, it could be watching television, it could be taking a walk with your dog. Apologist came back. Whatever it is, I would love for you to explore things that you could do that would give you a sense of joy and could break up the energy a little bit, because this is saying no more. There are too many scrolls on the ground there. You need to do something that's going to help you get some perspective. And the King of Mirrors here is trying to help you see different things. I like that Cups is mirrors in this deck, because the people around us mirror things which we need to learn about ourselves. And someone's coming in to remind you. Maybe it's a playful energy that's coming in, and it's just saying like, let's have some fun. This is a part of you. Don't forget me, right? My dog will come over. He's really polite during these readings, but if I'm just working here at the computer or in the other room, he'll come over and he'll lick my leg, or he'll nuzzle, and he'll say, come on, like, let's go take a walk. I'm still here. Don't forget me. So people in real life do the exact same things. We have the King of Pentacles here, and I'm going to talk about this. I love it when we see two kings. I love it when they're upright. That's showing me very compatible energy. So the King of Pentacles, when we just look at it as an aspect of your own personality, I feel like you have great growth potential this month. You could take what's at the center here with the Four of Pentacles and unlock something or reveal something that's really going to take off, that's really going to make you feel better, that's really going to bring about abundance in your life. We have the Ace of Pentacles in the crowning position as well. This is good stuff for you. So this is possibilities, and this is like where your head space is. So I want you to capitalize on that, work on that. I've been talking about it, I feel like, for months for many signs, but this card is upright. So it's not even a matter of like, it's not selfish. It's just a decision that maybe you want to do it. Maybe you want to invest in yourself or invest in general. I feel like something about resources is opening up for you, and that can only lead to positive things based on the connection of cards that I see. What's nice about this is if things have fallen apart previously, then what we're seeing here is a realignment or an attraction to a higher energy or a higher opportunity for you, okay? We have the Green Man, which is the Emperor here at the very end. I like this Green Man because we actually see him connected to a bird that's looking over its eggs here. I think that we need to see more divine masculine connected with that fertile energy of the divine feminine. Just like we saw in the Lovers, in most Lovers cards, you'll see like male and female, masculine and feminine. Why can't men also be in that role of nurturing? And that's what we're seeing with this Green Man. Because Green Man, Green Woman in the forest, it's all connected, it's all growth, it's all the same. So I think that if no matter where you are, again, I don't read gender in the cards, but this is just showing me a control energy, an ability to take things on and to also nurture it. And it's a slightly more assertive energy than you might see with the Empress. So Empress might be just more focusing on making it happen, managing others. This is saying, not only am I containing that energy of creation, but I'm also going to be more assertive. So whether you're male or female or non-conforming, doesn't matter. This is your chance to sort of say, I've got it all, and I'm going to move forward a little bit, and I'm ready to do it. So you might be starting your own business. Ace of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, and the Emperor card definitely is about management. This Emperor was reversed. So whenever I see Emperor, Empress, or Queen of Wands or King of Wands reversed, it can be a gentle note to really keep the focus on you and to make sure that you're not trying to fix everything and everyone around you. Let them come to you. Keep an open mind. That's the only thing that when I see like either the Emperor or the Hierophant, sometimes that kind of energy is too traditional. But the reversal of this is saying you've already kind of got the capacity to go there, just go a little bit further. You have to keep moving with the changes right now. And we don't know when or if it's going to go back to sort of like something normal. I think this is a new normal. And I think that whenever quote unquote normal happens, it won't be the old normal. So let's just start to evolve. That's what this whole experience of 2020 has been about. A big punch to the third eye. Thank you so much, Kali, to wake us up and help us see things are different. We're stronger than we think. You can survive this. I see basically really quickly here, moving from a place of keeping things under wraps to expansion, expansion, and more expansion here. So overall, it's pretty good. This green, man, also kind of contains the energy of the Fool with it, or the World, because of all the growth around it. I actually prefer this to a regular Emperor or Empress card. I like that. I like that they have like the green man, the green woman in this particular deck. Now let's talk really quickly. We'll go more in depth in a second with the relationships, but we got 2 king cards, and I like that. I see the Page, Knight, Queen, King energy as levels of experience and maturity, not so much as male, female. So if I get 2 kings, it can be a man and a woman. It can be 2 men. Like I said, it can be 2 non-conforming people, whatever, it doesn't matter. What I see with this is people that are on the same level. So the one that's around you is much more sensitive because that's showing up in the environment. We have the mirror energy, the cups energy here in the environment. This is sort of your potential, which is to work more on yourself. So the balance this month in the Lover's energy is, how can I move forward in personal development and career, or sort of independence, and now deal with the relationships around me, which also are deserving of my time and energy. But will they be patient? Can I be patient? Can we find this balance between us? That's the dynamic that's going to be facing many of you. We'll be looking at love in a second here in the expanded forecast, but that's the initial message that comes through. And also, as I said earlier, with a lot of times Emperor is an old man or an old woman, and or an old soul. So something about age or experience is coming through as well. It came through initially with my index cards. Now it's coming through with the tarot cards as well. All right, let me take a quick drink, and then we're going to expand to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Okay, so in health, we have reaching your destination. And it's encouraging you that, all right, so maybe one thing fell away, this tower, but now we have like a castle on the horizon. There are so many butterflies today, by the way. These are a lot of different decks, but I feel like butterflies, butterflies, butterflies everywhere. I hope you're getting the general theme here. We didn't get death like Aquarius did, but you basically have transformation touching every single card. And the tower to me is another form of like death and rebirth. So what this is showing you is the rebirth energy that is coming through, you know, kind of like courtesy of Kali or the tower. Sometimes things have to fall apart before you can build something stronger, or pick up all the pieces and understand why they were there in the first place. It's kind of like an old jigsaw puzzle. To understand how things fit together, you almost have to take it apart to see the shapes, right? So this month, the universe is revealing the shape of you, the shape of the world, the shape of everything that you need to be focusing on. And what you need to decide is, do I like this, or do I want to break through it? Because you're not stuck like that puzzle piece. How are you fitting in? Where do you feel like you're fitting in? Do you want to kind of go to something new? And there's something here that also kind of aligns with the feather energy. We have these little bubbles. Your thoughts, your ideas, your energy can lift you up. So keep your thoughts in the elevated state. This poor angel here is not in that elevated state. I don't know what she's been through. She's been delivering a lot of messages, but it's time to kind of go higher. And sometimes these are the messages or the thoughts in our heads. So swords will be illustrated in different ways in different decks. A lot of times you'll see birds because it shows the ability for the thoughts to take flight, right? Sometimes they're crows because swords can be crows because they're cawing and they're getting in there. And sometimes they can be books or swords or pens or whatever. So for this, we're seeing the messages. So what I would say is restate those messages, put them in a higher place, just like we were talking about in the channeled messages earlier, and that's going to lift you up. Let go of the old stuff. Imagine, if you will, in your meditation that you're just burning those old scrolls, those old ideas. We can kind of work through some of that too. Now, looking at some specific things for you, health-wise, the Four of Pentacles, this is about opening up. This can be talking to people too, because when we hold things too tightly here, it can lead to an increase in blood pressure, hypertension. It stresses the heart and the lungs, so the cardiopulmonary organs get kind of crunched up a little bit. So doing some exercises like yoga and Pilates can open that, but also just the act of talking and expressing and exploring and even research can help break open this chakra here a little bit. So definitely kind of work on that expansion. The other thing here, of course, we talked about this, but with your sleep schedule, either how much you're sleeping or the quality of sleep that you're receiving, maybe there's something going on. You could even, sometimes it's due to sleep apnea, the constriction within your throat. It could be just general needing to work on like fear and anxiety. Look at what it is that's causing that feeling of being not rested. It can be the bed, pillows, little tiny things can actually have a big impact on sleep quality. And those are the big things that I'm picking up on, focusing on opening this space and then making sure that you're getting enough sleep. Thankfully, we didn't get a lot of other cards here. The Tower reverse could also just be a big health change that happened in your life. Maybe it's like a diagnosis, or maybe someone around you has kind of been going through something, and this is you waking up and dealing with that and trying to get the pieces put back together. So I know a lot of us are going through that as well, especially if you experienced a loss. On wealth, we have clarity of belief, and the transformational energy is also weaving through that too. We have the kind of spider web that I was seeing here, but that another butterfly, so metamorphosis and a change. If you haven't changed yet, you're going to change soon. And at some point, you're going to have to make peace with the energy of change, which is, it's all around you. It feels like when it comes to work. So, and when I say work or career, for those of you that are retired, this could be life purpose, right? So maybe suddenly you found yourself thinking, I have more to do. I have things I want to do. So, if you're 80 or 90 and there's things that you want to do, go back and do them. Do it. Like, this is your time. It's always your time. If you're young and you're thinking, I think I want to change my focus. Maybe you were going to go and major in something and you're going to major in something else. Maybe you don't want to go to school. Maybe you want to go to a trade program instead. Whatever it is, this is a time to explore options. Maybe you're mid-career and you want to go back to school, or you want to finish something because you changed your mind about not wanting to do it. It's okay. Change and growth and development. We're always moving. We're always weaving. But it feels like it's more pregnant, more strong right now. And it's time for you to move into that and kind of play with it. He has a very playful energy around that butterfly. Okay. I mentioned yesterday that, to me, transformation, which is a much better name for death than death, it's always there for us. It's always ready to take our hand and say, oh, you want to change? Come on, I'll help you. Listen to yesterday's forecast if you'd like, especially the end. We talked about walking through the portal. You can do the meditation. You can listen to all of my readings because there's kernels of truth in them at the beginning and the end especially. But there was a really great thing with transformation. There's another, I haven't used it in a long time just because I kind of don't connect with the images, but I think it's called Wizard's Tarot. But you actually dance with death in that particular deck. And I like that because it's the dance of creation and destruction. And that's kind of like what Kali's reminding us, even though Kali's illustrated in a frightening way here. Same energy there, not something to be afraid of. Archangel Michael does the same sort of thing. It destroys and it protects and it creates. It's that same sort of energy. So overall, if we look at the money or resource cards, we go to Four of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles. That's really positive and auspicious. So if you're limited or feeling limited, I see expansion coming through. but there has to be ownership, and there has to be this feeling of, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick things up and work on myself. And also, don't be afraid to tap into others. The Lovers is your community. That's your virtual Rolodex nowadays. So go into your LinkedIn, go into your Facebook, go into Instagram contacts, and reach out to people that you used to work with. And that's an area that you could actually do some job searching as well if you're looking for work. Okay, change. The other thing here, if we read the caption, I was focusing on the butterfly and the symbology in there, but or the symbols rather. We have clarity of belief. If I'm a person that's hiring someone, a manager or a recruiter, I'm not going to believe you if you don't believe in yourself. So if there's been anything that's gone on over the past year or 2 or 10, I don't care, and you're asked about like, why did you choose that? Or how do you feel about this? As long as you can frame it up in a way where you believe that it's bringing you into a better trajectory, that's gonna bode well. So just try to see the higher purpose in things. Don't feel like you have to hide anything. Don't feel like you have to apologize. You know, you could talk about how your experience working in a job that maybe isn't a direct correlation to where you're at could be a perfect sort of training ground. Like when I was going to college, I worked as I think everybody should do this at one point, but I was a waiter. I worked as a bus person, as a waiter, as a host, as a caterer. Like I did the whole thing with a restaurant. And what it prepared me for was like human decency, and also like tipping and supporting people in those sorts of industries, because it's such hard work. So I don't think I've ever had a temper tantrum at a restaurant because something's not right. I'll just have like, we don't even go to restaurants anymore because of the pandemic, but back when I did, you just have a conversation. That person's just working. Maybe something in the kitchen's happening, but I've seen the inner workings of that. So what I could say if I was in a job interview is I learned to appreciate the importance of customer service, but also when I am a customer now, I'm nicer to people that are working, because it's just a job. They're just the worker. They're like this angel. They're the messenger, right? You don't kill the messenger. So that's an example of maybe if someone was saying like, how did your job at this catering company prepare you to be a manager here? It doesn't make sense. I would say actually it makes perfect sense, because I can connect all pieces of things. And if you don't work that level, how can you work this level? So never make an excuse for something. You can always contextualize it. And we're being asked to take on interesting jobs this particular year. We can't do what we used to, right? So shame on that company if they can't see the higher energy of that anyway, okay? You probably just have a weird recruiter or a strange company that you're working at. So you can probably find a way to contextualize it, but maybe even look for something better, all right? Let's look at love and relationships. And wow, this is beautiful. So the card itself says heaven. The card is reversed, which there's a couple things. Like there's an old Tracy Chapman song from, I can't remember the album. It was New Beginning, yeah. And it was called Heaven is a Place on Earth or something like that. Don't quote me. But the whole song is about, actually the whole album is about trying to fix things. It's a great album for here and now. This was done like in the late 90s, early 2000s. What I'm seeing with this is it's a reminder that we are the divine, right? We always, like traditionally, I think there was this teaching that you live a good life and you go to heaven. Well, guess what? There could be another way of looking at this. I've seen past life sort of flashbacks. So I know from my own experience anyway, it's my window. You can choose to listen to it or not. But like I see that we live, we die, and we live again. And we die, and then we live again. And then we die, and we live again. So heaven possibly is a creative process. There is a heaven. There is a sort of higher realm. There are energetic realms. There are many dimensions. But this is, we keep coming back to this. Maybe there's something really cool about this experience because of the freedom of thought, which I was talking about earlier, about the freedom to love, about discovering someone again for the first time, even if it's a karmic or a soul relationship. So some of you might be reconnecting with that deep soul karmic connection. Some of you might just be discovering your own divinity. Whatever it is, maybe this is the first time and it's kind of opening up your thoughts to that. It's not about living one life and dying and then resting forever. That's a kind of older way of thinking. We live, we die, we take on different functions, we do different things. This is really now a chance for you to decide, like, how do I make heaven on earth? How do I make today amazing? How can I make this interaction amazing? How can we make this video amazing? Every moment counts. It's not about some afterlife that we are just going to get to relax in. That's actually not how it works. We're always moving, we're always learning. Even there, you would be taking on a role as a guide, probably. The only time that you kind of go into that nirvana is if, I think, at the very end of things, if there is such a thing, or when your soul has done so much that it just needs a period of rest. It does exist, but even avatars like, Buddha or Jesus or any of the angels or ascended masters, they're still accessible, they're still working. So we don't ever really go to that permanent place of rest. We are eternal. So interesting, because we look at all these movies, right, about, immortals and vampires and, sorcerers and all of this stuff. That's like, we live forever. Our soul lives forever. And the weirdest thing is, and that's why I'm all the butterflies today, we're in this strange thing where we just change bodies every lifetime. So I think that people that are open to this, that's why there should be no problem with sort of sexuality, gender, exploration, all of this stuff, because why wouldn't we? We've been everything before. I think sometimes people that are experiencing that are just more open. They're more sensitive. They're more aligned to their soul. So you are divine. That's what this is. I know I'm on a little bit of a rant, but you are divine. And this lifetime is about owning the divinity, and the relationships that you're calling in right now are about that divinity. Okay. Finally, intuition. Hello, we're full circle. So it's everywhere. It's all around you this month. I hope you can tap into it. The Destiny card is saying part of your purpose on this planet is to get back into this path. So I saw in chat, some of you are exploring your different intuitive paths. Good for you. That's what you should be doing. All of you should be doing something that you feel guided to do, and follow that intuition. Okay, let's go ahead, quickly review. I know we're close to time here, so I want to make sure that we have enough time to get into the soul path. We kind of did some of that there with the heaven card, but we'll do a little bit more here in just a moment. So the channeled messages this month, emotional clearing is super important. And for many of you, someone might be trying to unload unnecessary responsibility on your shoulders. You don't have to say yes. It's going to be a lot more powerful to empower them, to train them, and then to set them on their own sort of path of independence or self-sufficiency. A new karmic relationship could be coming through. And we talked a lot about this. For some of you, it could just be the relationship with yourself, understanding and realizing your own divinity. Either an old soul in a new body or vice versa could be coming through, something that goes against what you might expect. So open up your mind if you're looking for new love, or if you're trying to figure out what's going on in existing relationships. The student may be the teacher and vice versa, okay? Or like, just kind of look at the relationship exchange differently. Work through the karmic lesson and then evaluate, do I still want to be in this? What am I still getting out of that? That's the cool thing about this human experience, is we can choose at that point. You're not forever tied to somebody. Thoughts are not only powerful, but they are also liberating. And I use the 1984 book analogy. If you haven't read it, it's a good book, about how they tried to control thoughts. Explore all of the possibilities, and don't let anybody hold you back from dreaming. Great things always start with a humble beginning, like a seed or an acorn. Take a chance this month, and just like we saw with this Ace of Stones or Ace of Pentacles, plant that seed, right? And like a spider, which was our spirit animal today that came through, or spirit insect as it were, this is really an important time for you to focus on your power of attraction. We got the Lovers card here, which is great for that. In your cosmic sort of web, weave your own creative and elevated thoughts. Remember that like attracts like. Focus on the positive and what your potential is. If you focus on the negative, you're going to attract the negative. Now, that's not to say that you ignore things that are needing to be paid attention to. It's just saying that you're not going to solely focus on a negative sort of affirmation, like I can't do this or I'll never do this. If you think I need more education, that's a different thought. You can work on the education. Manifestation is sort of this combination of catch and release. The release can also just be like, I'm releasing my idea or my wish to the universe, but it can also be about releasing stuff that you don't need anymore, like those negative thoughts. just like a spider web, you can snip out that stuff and repair. So there was this energy of rebirth, or basically being able to bounce back, which came through. Also, literally the spidey or spider sense that comes through when it senses things that are moving towards it. Like a feather, allow your thoughts to be light, allow your heart to be light. Lift it up if you need to, talk to someone if you need to do that. And this is going to allow you to kind of, like this bubble that we saw here, go to the next zone. If you're dealing with something that feels too heavy, then find a way to heal that. And there's no right or wrong way, whatever works for you. Finally, if you need to update, upgrade, or maintain something, do it sooner than later so that it doesn't break on you. We have a double whammy here with your catalyst and also your destiny card. Your third eye is opening up. Please listen to it. Whatever it's trying to tell you is important. So you're basically being pushed towards an intuitive journey this month. Accept it. It's ready. I hope you are too. Open up. That's the main message here, because that opening then brings you from this to two aces. So we have 4 pentacles, an ace of wands, an ace of pentacles. And then it also brings you to the king of pentacles, which is great. So we're seeing expansion overall. The moon and Kali, or the tower card reverse, this could be some fear or uncertainty, some stuff that you have to work through. But everything around it is, again, movement. Ace, ace, lovers. So I see really positive shift coming through. Great idea, great seed, great attractive energy. You have to find a way to work through fears and frustrations, rest a little bit more. That's going to be important. We see a key relationship coming through. I mean, we have all of this love energy right here. So whether it's a friendship, a family relationship, or a love interest, it looks good to me. The main thing that we talked about was that sort of balance of, for some of you, not trying to control like a parent would in this relationship. And that's why we see like a father energy coming through up here. One more quick review of the expanded forecast. Your light is shining brightly, reaching your destination. Just imagine that you're being guided towards that path. Another butterfly, another butterfly. So you are, and there's a connection between health and a change of environment in your wealth, perhaps. Following your dreams, following your wishes, changing things up. Change, change, change. It's everywhere. There's butterflies in the deck. There's butterflies behind the deck. There's butterflies in related cards that aren't even part of the deck. It's all over change. We talked about your connection to divinity, and that needs to be respected, and probably is going to find a way to kind of manifest itself in existing relationships. And ultimately, you're going to be guided towards the path that is best for you, that is right for you. So you have super powerful energy. Everything this month has kind of felt magical for most signs anyway. I feel like there's this big energetic shift that not that I don't always feel, but I especially feel this month. All right, let's focus on past, present, future. Make sure that we have enough time for meditation. I want to look at the tower because a lot of times, wow, a lot of times the tower freaks us out, and the universe didn't even need me to shuffle. That literally flew out of the deck. That doesn't happen very often. So we have the 7 of Cups here, and I like that. This is so interesting. Notice how the mirror behind her is shattered, right? But she's also kind of like weaving there, like on a loom or something, or an old-fashioned. What do you call it? I don't know. Basically, she's either like creating something new. So whatever's broken, or whatever you feel like you don't have the capacity to fix. I mentioned yesterday in Aquarius that sometimes doors are closed for a reason. Sometimes things fall apart for a reason. She is actively creating something new and doesn't seem to be bothered by that. She's not looking at it anymore. So one thing with 7 of Cups is clarity. Mentioned emotional clearing. I would also say like cognitive clearing is super important here. And if you're going to be attracting things into your life, make sure that you are clear on what you want. I think that's one of the strongest things that you could focus on is, who am I? What do I want? What am I trying to create? And that's what the 7 of Cups is about. So some of what happened maybe in the past was because of a lack of clarity. And maybe now, as it's happening, you're clear on what you don't want. Maybe you're clear that you don't want this to happen again. And you have the ability to create new things. This is one of the best sort of productive cards sometimes, because 7 of Cups is far from limited. Its negativity sometimes can come from the fact that there's too many options. So just clarify what it is you're trying to do, and you should be able to brainstorm your way out of any situation. Okay? So clear your thoughts, clear your mind, open yourself up to new possibilities, and remember that you always have the capacity to rebuild. I want to look a little closer at the karmic relationship that's coming through and see if there's any other messages on that. So we have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Notice how she actually has a very creative energy, something I would normally see maybe with cups or swords. For you this month, I want you to take something that you really, really care about and that also really, really fulfills you, and honor that. And this is what I was looking at with that relationship, which is, it feels like personal development is the central theme. So this month, if your partner loves you, if your friend loves you, if your parent loves you, whoever it is that's coming through as that partner, they're going to let you explore this part of yourself. That's part of your journey: development, expansion, exploration, going back to school, trying something different, reinvention. It's okay. So I'm encouraging you to do whatever it is that you want to do. Because for some of you, you were kind of looking in a broken mirror before. You were trying to be someone else's reflection. Sometimes, I mean, not sometimes, often, parents try to vicariously live through their children's experience. Sometimes in a partner relationship, your partner's projecting their fears into you. So this is about, it's not always bad to break a mirror. I've talked about this before. It's just an object. Forget about the old bad luck things. That mirror has been reflecting old versions of myself back for years. So when I break it, I do a little happy dance, smudge, clean up the pieces, and I go out and buy a new one. That means I can start to see new things. Tired of the old reflection. It didn't work for me. That mirror wasn't very good anyway. So whatever this was, break that old kind of reflection that you had, forget about the projections of others, and create something new. All right, and then finally, I'm just going to actually open this one up into the universe. What is it that your soul needs to be open to because of the intuitive messages? Strength. Strength reverse, though. I like that in this particular deck. I always like it when we flip it around and it's not what you expect. So we actually have a guy in this particular deck, and he's holding on to sort of some bones, like from the past here. This is ancestral energy that I'm getting from this. It's so much more like shamanistic than the traditional strength card. So your strength, it was reversed, but your strength is not defined or constrained by your ancestral connections. It is in fact created by you. The strength reverse card is always, for me, sometimes an underestimation in your own ability, sometimes focusing on trying to control others, which we saw here with the green man. And in that green man card, we also saw really cool divine feminine energy. And in this one, we actually see a flip here. And instead of feminine energy, we have divine masculine energy. So it's about switching around expectations and roles a little bit for some of you. You should, if you've been in this sort of, if you've always been giving, you should be able to receive right now. And ancestral energy is definitely something that you want to pay attention to. That's why we're seeing that little skull there. And we saw a ton of skulls here on this particular one. We've got to deal with the past. So we'll do a little ancestral healing in this. I've been playing around with this idea, but I think on Halloween, I'm going to do something for healing the past and healing, kind of like going into the veil a little bit, and kind of like a celebration of All Saints, All Souls, Day of the Dead, and then Halloween as well. So instead of going into the creepy crawly energy of Halloween, it's more like, let's connect with our relatives, our ancestors, and even our past incarnations, and let's heal it. Let's get the karma out so that we can then be open and receiving and creating as a new clean slate. So I'll do that. That's coming through probably on Halloween or the 1st. I'll let you know. But in the meantime, we're going to do a little bit of an ancestral clearing here, maybe a little preview. And I really want to focus on maybe more this love relationship or this interaction too. So clearing relationships is going to be more the focus today. And then I'll do the ancestral deep dive around Halloween. Okay. So if you haven't already hit like and subscribe, it's super easy. It helps me a ton. And I'm sorry I have to say that, but it does make a difference. I don't do like a normal video, if you've figured that out. I'm not focusing on your partner all the time or your person. It's you, by the way. You're always the one that matters. So I try to help you be the best version of yourself. and then also help release patterns in other people around you. And then I feel like by definition, your person, your people, your relationships, if you have them, they're all going to benefit as a result. So, but yes, hitting like, subscribing, and putting a comment of encouragement, it actually does a lot to help the silly algorithm that YouTube has. So interaction is really cool. So if you can't give back in any other way, please interact with the video. And I say thank you for doing that. It's a great exchange. Okay, please close your eyes, and I want to focus on the method that we're going to do this. Okay, we're going to use a little bit of the spider energy too. I think we're going to do that for today because that was something that came through. So I want you to see yourself in a beautiful, sort of like a beautiful tree or flowers, you just sort of green all around you. And you are this sort of cosmic weaver. If you don't want to see yourself as a spider, see yourself as having the energy of that spider, which is you can create a web. You can almost just imagine that you're able to sew that web if you want to. But if you want to go into the spider energy, why not? It's a cool insect. So see yourself finding this space where you're looking out towards the world. Maybe there's a beautiful lake in front of you, which is sort of the mirror of your sort of your third eye, of your dreams, of your heart. What I'd like you to do is to create this beautiful cosmic web. And as you're spinning each and every strand, and as you're creating that wonderful structure that's going to attract positive energy, I want you to infuse each thread with the idea of, I am an active creator in my life. I am capable of bringing in things that are of love, of light, of the highest creative energy, and I am ready to receive. I'm ready to receive these things in my life. I want you to imagine that maybe as you were weaving, there were pieces of your past that are caught in the web. Maybe it's a parental energy, maybe it's an old relationship, and despite your best attempts as you were weaving, they kind of got they were stuck in the tapestry of your thoughts. The cool thing is, because we're cosmic spiders or we're cosmic weavers today, you have the ability now to go in, now that you've captured that, and release it. And you're going to rebuild it and say, I don't want that anymore. Get out of my web. You're going to cut it out. And in the openings that you have now, I want you to imagine what will replace those things. So you're releasing the connection with love and with light. Let them go. Let them be free. As you're cutting them, imagine that they're like the butterflies on this deck, that they're starting to take flight, that they're starting to say, thank you for liberating me. I didn't realize I was stuck. And you start to say, thank you for letting me be. I'm so happy now too to be free of the energy. As I play the singing bowl, I want you to start to replace those old things with something beautiful and new. We're planting a cosmic seed in that web, knowing that it will grow or it will attract new things. Okay? Take a deep breath. Exhale. And if you'd like to, just know that that web is there. You can come back to it anytime. Imagine now that maybe you could ride on a feather. You're a little spider, why not? Imagine that you could ride on a feather towards something that you want to do, something that you want to experience in your life, and hop on that feather and allow the wind to carry you. Allow yourself to be free and to be liberated, knowing that part of creation is released. So you created that web, you asked the universe to bring it to you. Let's let the feather carry you back to your heart, back to your soul. And as you find your way back towards your body, see that feather coming in through the heart space. See that energy of the weaver, the spider, the creator, going through all parts of your being. And then open your eyes on the next exhale. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed today's magical forecast. I felt like we really went way out there and came back. So that was enjoyable for me. I hope you enjoyed it too. Just a couple quick notes here. If you were kind enough to do a super chat, thank you so much. When this is on replay, I will pin a comment. It'll take later today because I have to run some errands and things, but I always will summarize the cards and I kind of go back to the video and put all of this stuff in. So later today, I'll say thank you. You can still do it while I'm talking. And then on replay, of course, if you're watching this, you can use the applaud button. It's a great way to get back. For those of you, you'll notice that there's people that talk that have special emojis or green text. Those are the folks that have clicked join. I know a lot of you also support me on Patreon, and I just want to say thank you for doing both of those things. It helps me continue with all the supplies here. I'd love for you to join me on social media if you haven't already. Everything that I'm talking about is going to be on my website. So it's nicholasashbaugh.com. And a great way to get to that link, so you don't have to remember how to spell my name, is just to click on from YouTube, either the app or the website. You can click on my picture and then go to the main YouTube page from my channel and click on the About tab. Everything's there. The way that you can, if you want to manually look me up, it's at Nicholas Ashbaugh, nothing after, nothing before, none of the official stuff. It's just my name. I just use my name on all these networks. On Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, what I do is I use stories to remind you of future videos. So it's a great way to keep track of what's going on. I also will post all of the handwritten notes that I do on the channel page. Here it's it's sort of like the community tab. And then I will actually just post it straight to the main pages on Facebook and Instagram. You can join me on TikTok as well. Like I said, Patreon's another way to give back. They're all just my name. Instagram's, not Instagram, but Twitter is slightly different. It's just Ashbaugh, but everything else is my name. And if you want to use PayPal instead, you can go to my website. There's a link up there called Patron. And on Patron, you can be a PayPal. You can contribute through PayPal or through Patreon. But either way, if you want to go straight to PayPal, it's paypal.me/ again, just my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh. Just to make sure that you're using the right link, better to go to my website, which again, you can just get to through the main profile page. Finally, if you're still here and you haven't hit like and subscribe, why the heck not? Please click it. Thank you guys so much. That wraps up the readings for this month. But like I said, I'm going to do some I have a couple special things that are coming through. So I'll have at least 1 or 2 videos coming through over the next week. It's a good time to be subscribed to the channel or subscribe to my newsletter, which is also on my website if you haven't already done that, so that you're aware of what's going on. And when I do maybe that ancestral clearing video right around, like I said, Halloween or the 1st, because that's perfect. The veil is thin and it's a good time to do all of that stuff. Thanks everyone for sticking around. We went about 5 minutes longer than we normally did. So special thanks to my moderators for sticking around for that extra 5 minutes. Much love and light to everybody. Thank you as well for the people that are giving some final stickers there. I appreciate you. Have a great day, everyone. And I'll be in touch soon. Until then, have a great November as well. Okay. Thank you.